whatever I was doing? Thanks, I appreciate that. Alright, today then we're going to continue talking about angles and parallel lines. Angles and parallel lines. So let's get a couple of parallel lines on your paper. Alright, gonna label these lines L, M, and T. And then this red arrow, the red arrows on L and M, if two lines have one red arrow on each, that means the lines are parallel. It means the same thing as this. This right here means that line L is parallel to line M. L is parallel to M. In this case, that makes line T a transversal. By definition, you defined a transversal yesterday. And now, there's 8 angles in this picture. You got angle 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, 6, 7, and 8. And when L is parallel to M, and T is the transversal, these lines all have relationships, and they have rules. And what I want you to write down, it's going to apply to your first 3 rules. You're going to write that if two parallel lines are cut by a transversal, which is the case in that diagram. 2 parallel lines are cut by a transversal. Here's your first rule. Corresponding angles are congruent. And here's the symbol for congruent, the equal sign with a squiggly line over the top. Corresponding angles are congruent. Corresponding means that the angles hold the same position in their respective group of angles. If we take this group of angles up top and we call it the gold group, and then we take this other group of angles down here on the bottom and we call it the teal group. You got 2 groups of angles. Corresponding angles are congruent. Well, corresponding means they hold the same position in their group. So do you see where angle 1 is in the upper left position? And angle 5 is in the upper left position of its group. That means they correspond to each other. They hold the same position. So angle 1 is congruent to angle 5. And what's angle 2 going to be congruent to? to angle 6. And angle 4 is congruent to angle 8. And what's left? 1, 2, 4, and 3. Angle 3 is congruent to angle 7 because they are corresponding angles. That is a rule. Second rule, when two lines are parallel and cut by a transversal, alternate interior angles. Are congruent. Alternate interior angles are congruent. The space in this diagram in between L and M, that is the interior. Alternate means they're on alternating sides of the transversal. So angle 3 is congruent to angle 5 because they are called alternate interior angles. And angle 4 is congruent to angle 6. They're on alternate sides of the transversal, T, and they're in the interior of the parallel lines. Alternate exterior angles. Are congruent. So if the space between the parallel lines is the interior region, then everything else is the exterior region. Everything out here is in the exterior, and everything out here. So alternate exterior. They're on alternating sides of the transversal, so that means that angle 1 is congruent to which one? 7, good. And angle 2 is congruent to angle 8. Does that make a little more sense? Good. All right, the last rule for this section relates to same side interior. Same side interior. They're on the same side of the transversal, but they're in the interior. So same side interior angles are supplementary. Same side interior are supplementary. So that means angle 4 plus, what's same side interior with angle 4? Same side interior, that's angle 5. 4 plus 5 equals 180 degrees. What's your other pair of same side interiors? Angle 3 plus angle 6 equals 180 degrees. You're going to have to learn those relationships, know those relationships, and you're going to have to be able to describe the relationship between angle 1 and angle 7. You're going to have to know that they're alternate exterior angles and that they're congruent. Same with the relationship between angle 2 and angle 8. Alternate exterior angles and they're congruent. All of these relationships that we just discussed, you're going to have to be able to identify angles on your quiz and determine their relationship. Alright, flip it over to page 182 and let's look at example 3A. This is how much there?
Yeah, I just need to see the same side.
Let me know when I can move it. Alright, so let's get a couple more parallel lines with a transversal on your paper, please. And the red arrow means that they're parallel. And there's 8 angles in this diagram. Alright, so here's your diagram. And then you're told that the measure of angle 4 equals 2x minus 17. So this angle 4, 2x minus 17. The measure of angle 1 is 85. So this angle right here is 85 degrees. Find x. So that means you have to find the value of x. So you're going to find x. Because that's the way the book numbered them. They went across. You see it? Okay, now look. This is where it can get confusing right off the bat. Because angle 1 and angle 4 don't have a direct relationship with each other, do they? Okay? But there's a couple different things that's going on here. Do you see angle 1 and angle 7? Angle 1 and angle 7 are called corresponding angles. And you just wrote down that corresponding angles are congruent if two parallel lines are cut by a transversal. That's what you have here. So the measure of angle 7 is also 85 degrees. And what do these two angles right here form? They form a straight line. They're supplementary. So your setup would be that 85 plus 2x minus 17 is equal to 180. And that's how you're going to find x, or the value of x. So you got to combine your like terms. So your 85 minus your 17, 68 plus 2x equals 180. And then you can subtract 68 from each side. And your 2x is going to equal 112. And then you can divide both sides by 2. And x is equal to 56. Those are the type of questions you're going to get related to these rules. The next example there says to find y if the measure of angle 3, we got, let's see, where do I got more room? I'm going to move it over here a little bit. The measure of angle 3, 4x plus 30, or I'm sorry, 4y plus 30. The measure of angle 7, 7y plus 6. Alright, so we're talking about 3 and 7. What's their relationship? That would be your first question. They are alternate interior angles. And what do you know about alternate interior angles? You just wrote it down. They're congruent. So your 4y plus 30 is equal to your 7y plus 6. And now you can solve for y. So subtract 4y from each side. And your 30 equals 3y plus 6. Subtract 6. 24 equals 3y. And you can divide by 3. So 8 is equal to y. Any questions so far? Alright, let's try another one. The guided practice down there on page 182. And we got the two parallel lines again. Transversal go. Ooh, that's not a very good line, is it? Alright, so you're given information. The measure of angle 2 is 4x plus 7. So right here, angle 2 is 4x plus 7. The measure of angle 7, 5x minus 13. Find the value of x. So first thing is to find x. Alright, what do you know about those two angles? Alright, these two lines are parallel. That's in the diagram. Those are alternate exterior angles. What do you know about alternate exterior angles? They're congruent. Good. So, we're going to say that 4x plus 7 is equal to 5x minus 13. You can subtract 4x from each side. So 7 equals x minus 13, and then add 13. So 20 equals x. The second part of that question. Find y if the measure of 5 equals 68. The measure of angle 5, this is 68 degrees. And the measure of angle 3 is 3y minus 2. So right here is 3y minus 2. What are those two angles called? Same side interior. Those are the things you're going to have to learn and memorize. They're same side interior, and the rule related to same side interior is that they're supplementary. So your 3y minus 2 plus your 68 is equal to 180. So combine like terms. 3y plus 66 is equal to 180. Subtract 66. 3y equals 180 minus 66. 114, and divide by 3. And y equals 38. Better? Better understanding of those terms from yesterday? I hope? Okay, good.